Today we're talking about everyone's favorite topic, Bitcoin maximalism, especially in the year 2019. The good, the bad, the ugly, where it started, what should you think about it? Should you be a Bitcoin maximalist? Should you not? We're going to break down all of it today. What's going on, everybody? It is your boy, Crypto Bobby. I hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching or listening in from, and on the YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you're new, by any chance, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up if you've been here for a minute. So yeah, today we're going to talk about Bitcoin maximalism, and it's something that I think is a growing topic, obviously, in the year 2019. You have a landscape and an environment where people that were the staunchest supporters of altcoins, they were massive proponents of ICOs and token sales, and participating in token sales and just kind of the altcoin mania in general. You have people that were massive proponents of that have kind of slowly backed away and have now labeled themselves Bitcoin maximalists. You've had people that have held token sales in the past, their own token sales, utilizing Ethereum, labeling themselves Bitcoin maximalists. And I think that it is a somewhat of a confusing landscape for people, especially that maybe joined in like the 2017 timeframe, especially kind of seeing how things have shifted. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the origins in general. I think the good, the bad, the ugly, the uglier, a lot of the different components around Bitcoin maximalism in general in today's discussion. So it's important to note that the term Bitcoin maximalist, labeling somebody as a Bitcoin maximalist, is actually somewhat of a derogatory term, or thought to be a derogatory term by some Bitcoiners. And that is in part due to who is widely credited with kind of coining and popularizing the term. And that's actually Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, who I'm sure anybody who lives anywhere underneath a rock knows about. And Vitalik said this back in 2016 in a blog post. He said, the idea in regards to Bitcoin maximalism, the idea that an environment of multiple competing cryptocurrencies is undesirable, that it is wrong to launch yet another coin, and that it is both righteous and inevitable that the Bitcoin currency comes to a monopoly position in the cryptocurrency scene. Goes on to say, Bitcoin maximalism is a stance that building something on Bitcoin is the only correct way to do things, and that doing anything else is unethical. Bitcoin maximalists often use network effects as an argument, claiming that it is futile to fight against them. So that goes somewhat into the point of what actually is a Bitcoin maximalist. Well, I mean, at a high level, it's basically someone that believes that Bitcoin is the only true cryptocurrency, and that it should be the one thing that you should focus all of your attention, all of your development, all of your resources on top of to continue to advance Bitcoin. And in some more aggressive kind of stances, that basically everything else that has been a cryptocurrency since the invention of Bitcoin is essentially a scam and trying to steal your money. So you might be wondering, am I a Bitcoin maximalist? And I'm talking about me, not you. Am I a Bitcoin maximalist? And the answer is, well, if you've seen my portfolio, obviously not. But I am a supporter of Bitcoin maximalists, and I respect the opinion that they have and the approach in many cases that they take. I think some approaches are a little bit over the top, but in many cases, I think that there is absolute credence and really kind of factual stances behind the position that they've taken within the cryptocurrency industry. So no, I am not a Bitcoin maximalist. However, I have a ton of respect for the people that are, and I have a lot of friends that are. And I will say this, though. I will say that I personally believe that Bitcoin is in the best position to succeed out of any cryptocurrency. I personally believe that. I think that it has the clearest use case. It is a digital gold store of value, a self-sovereign way to store your crypto assets with a predictable inflation schedule over time that most likely will not be changed. I also do think that there are other cryptocurrencies and crypto assets that interest me, and because of that, I have a little bit of money in them, and I like to speculate on those crypto assets because in some cases I enjoy speculation and I don't go to the casino. I don't play craps and poker and blackjack every week. So, hey, I like to have a little bit of fun outside of the money in my 401k and that type of thing. So, yes, I believe Bitcoin has by far the best origin story, the clearest use case, the longest term possibility for success, the most institutional adoption, on and on and on. But for me, I also am interested by other cryptocurrencies. So I would not categorize myself at all as a Bitcoin maximalist. Now, when I think about Bitcoin maximalism in general, I think a lot of people that get into the industry, there's kind of like there's almost these two sides of the coin when you're looking at Bitcoin maximalism and the altcoiners, or aptly termed shitcoiners, or whatever you want to call some people. Everything is kind of a derogatory term in general, but whatever you want to call some people. There's always kind of two ends of the spectrum. And with that, I do think that there are a lot of individuals that ignore the wisdom of Bitcoiners that have been here before and seen it. There was a lot of commentary, especially even now when you look back in 2017 in peak mania and peak hype, you have these Bitcoiners that were, somewhat quietly, somewhat loudly, depends upon who they were, but were calling out a lot of the fuckery that was happening in the cryptocurrency world, saying, you know what, these assets are raising way too much money. These are against regulatory requirements. They have no use case, on and on and on. And if you listen to them, yeah, maybe you would have avoided or you would have missed out on some potential gains in the short term, but probably in the long term, you would be in a better place because they had seen that before in late 2013 and 2014, and they applied the lessons and they saw, I've been here before, but new entrants to the market don't necessarily want to hear that. On the other end of the spectrum, on the other end of the Bitcoin, if you are completely closed off to new ideas, in some cases, you can miss out on the 1% to 2% of interesting things that happen in the industry that are not total crap. And what do I mean by that? There are some Bitcoiners or Bitcoin maximalists that say every single thing on the planet besides Bitcoin is a scam. It is bad. This is good for Bitcoin and that is bad for you, etc., etc. And that's fine. Everybody is allowed to have their own opinion. However, when you are closed off to every single other idea, every once in a while you might miss out on something worthwhile. Maybe it's not worthwhile to that person, so that's why they're closed off. But you might miss out on something that, I'm not saying it's a new cryptocurrency. Maybe it's a kind of a new approach. It doesn't matter. But when you're completely closed off to certain things, and that applies to everything in life in general, but when you basically say this is the only thing that matters and everything else is crap and a scam, there is a small chance that you will miss out on something big, something important. And then to go back and to counteract that as well, you still have to filter through a lot of crap. You have to filter through a lot of crap and BS, because when it does come down to it, the vast majority of altcoins, the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are total crap, are not used, are not worthwhile. And so there is a ton of, again, credence to the kind of thought process of being a Bitcoin maximalist outside of just looking at the price appreciation of Bitcoin in comparison to the small percentage of assets that actually continually outperform Bitcoin on a consistent basis. Now, one thing that I think is relatively interesting, and I can't remember exactly where I heard this, but somebody told me once, or I heard it somewhere, where they said, and it could have been on Twitter, I really have no idea where it's from, but basically said every cryptocurrency that was ever invented after Bitcoin has tried in some respect to replicate the wealth generation that was caused by Bitcoin. So what does that mean? When Bitcoin was created, it generated vast sums of wealth for a number of people. Depending upon how early you got in, Bitcoin was a life-changing, wealth-altering experiment for numerous people. So every cryptocurrency out there following Bitcoin, and I really do think like basically every cryptocurrency out there following the invention of Bitcoin has looked at people that have made money with Bitcoin and they've said, okay, somebody else has made money with Bitcoin. How can we do something similar in terms of wealth generation? How can we generate wealth for ourselves? How can we do that in the long run? And that is something that I think is one of the biggest and staunchest reasons to actually consider Bitcoin maximalism in the just grand scheme of things, because of Bitcoin's origin story is so unique, and in my opinion will never, ever, ever, ever happen again. When Bitcoin was created in 2009, it was an absolute experiment with nobody using it, with no real money behind it, with people mining Bitcoin on CPUs, not even GPUs, CPUs on regular computers. And it was something that nobody put real money behind. Nobody put real thought into it. Well, obviously they put thought into the creation of it, but there was not an economic incentive yet to really go all in on Bitcoin. Every other cryptocurrency, really, especially cryptocurrencies now, these VC-launched cryptocurrencies, even the fair-launched cryptocurrencies that have VC-backed and kind of wealthy individuals that are mining these assets on day one, there are a number of different things that you'll never be able to recreate about how Bitcoin was created. And because of that, the origin story, the actual creation of Bitcoin, is one of the strongest reasons to kind of hold on to that just Bitcoin-centric approach, because nothing else will ever have that level of organic, grassroots, community-led growth. Everything else is going to have a really, truly centralized entity behind it, especially when you have these vast economic interests for individuals that are able to produce the technology, whether it is an Ethereum competitor, a Gen 2, Gen 3 blockchain, a Gen 4. I don't know how many generations we're on. Gen Z, Gen Y, Millennial, who the hell knows? But there are a lot of generations of blockchain platforms and privacy cryptocurrencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they all have the economic incentives behind them that just Bitcoin didn't have on day one. So what are my thoughts on Bitcoin maximalism and Bitcoin in general versus altcoins? Well, like I said before, I do believe that Bitcoin has the strongest chance of success for any cryptocurrency in the long run as it continues to work to fulfill the use case or the vision of being a digital gold store of value, self-sovereign, digital gold 2.0 type of use. However, I also am of the belief, and this could be wrong, this could be right, and both could be wrong, but I am also of the belief that Bitcoin will not fulfill every single use case in the cryptocurrency landscape, and not everything will be built on top of Bitcoin. What do I mean by that? Some people believe that you're going to have Bitcoin as the base layer. You will also potentially have tokens that are deployed on Blockstream's Liquid network, and that's where token sales will occur in the future, or they will be built on Rootstock with RSK and a variety of other things. I also think that there are other cryptocurrencies or other networks, other platforms, decentralized networks that will either gain success, have already emerged, a la maybe an Ethereum, etc., or others that might come out in the future that might fulfill specific use cases in the blockchain world that Bitcoin can't or will not. And I think that Bitcoin personally doesn't have to do anything different than just serve as the censorship-resistant asset that it is. I don't think it necessarily has to do everything. I don't think that it has to be an all-encompassing platform type of thing. I don't think it has to fill all of those use cases. But I think that there will be other assets out there, and there will not just be, there is only one, that type of, there can only be one, that type of scenario. So that's a little bit where my head's at in general. I would love to hear your thoughts on maximalism. Is it something where you truly believe in? Do you feel like the Bitcoin maximalist approach is helpful? Do you think that it is harmful to the industry? Do you think it has credence? Do you think that if you are 100% in altcoins, do you think that you are smarter and that they are better? I would love to hear in the YouTube comments and on the podcast as well. Let me know. If you are new again to the channel, we make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday talking about a bunch of different topics, anything that's happening in the industry. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that damn thumbs up button, even though that's my index finger. Crypto Bobby signing out. Hope you have a good one. Peace.